Her unhealed past drives her to fight against her brother's relationship. Now the question is, does she really have the right to choose a woman for her brother? That's what we're here to find out together. Hey friends, thanks for stopping by my channel today. Hope you're all doing great. Today's journey is going to be a blast. It will definitely keep you on the edge of your seats. First, kindly subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out on our next dramatic and exciting movie updates. Temi is a lovely Yoruba lady and a nurse who just got engaged to her man, an Igbo man named Samto. She is in the kitchen preparing a delicious meal when Samto comes in and tickles her from behind, startling her. Samto tries to play with Temi in the kitchen, but she asks him to leave so she can focus on cooking. The food is for Samto's elder sister, who is expected to visit. Before leaving the kitchen, Samto gives Temi a kiss. A few hours later, Temi is seen setting the dining table with the food she prepared. Samto comes downstairs while on a call with his sister, who informs him that she's already at his estate. Temi asks Samto if she looks presentable. He kisses her on the forehead and tells her she looks beautiful, and that's exactly why he chose to marry her. Samto opens the door and is surprised to see his elder sister, Ozioma. She comes in and starts complimenting Samto on how good-looking he is. As soon as Temi sees Ozioma, her expression changes. Samto introduces Temi to Ozioma, but the moment Ozioma sees Temi, her face also changes. She immediately calls Temi by name, leaving Samto shocked that his sister knows her. Temi tries to speak, but Ozioma threatens to beat her if she says a word. Samto tries to calm Ozioma down, confused by what's happening. He tells her to go to the room he prepared for her. But before going, Ozioma tells Temi that her relationship with Samto will never work. What could be the reason Ozioma is so against Temi dating her brother? Let's see how things unfold. When Ozioma gets to her room, she's still shaken by what she saw. She calls out to Samto. Meanwhile, Samto, still in the living room with Temi, is trying to figure out what's going on. He hears Ozioma calling him, so he takes her bags upstairs, leaving Temi trembling, as it seems like the worst is yet to come. What do you think Temi might have done in the past that made Ozioma so furious? Share your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, when Samto got to Ozioma's room, he asked her what was going on. Ozioma told him that she wouldn't allow him to marry Temi. Samto then asked Ozioma for her reasons. Ozioma revealed to Samto that her ex-boyfriend David, who broke her heart in the past, is Temi's brother. She went through a lot while dating David, so Ozioma told Samto to chase Temi out of his house. We all know Samto couldn't do that because he's deeply in love with Temi. A few minutes later, Samto returned to his room, looking quiet. Temi asked him if everything was okay. Samto then asked Temi how she knew Ozioma. Temi first said that she didn't know Ozioma was his sister, but then she told Samto that Ozioma used to date her brother David, but they broke up. Samto flared up, saying that David didn't just break Ozioma's heart, but he shattered her completely. Samto then told Temi how he had to console Ozioma for days, weeks, and months. That alone made him even angrier because it felt like old wounds were reopening. Temi tried to calm Samto down, and he eventually came back to his senses and apologized to Temi for flaring up at her. Temi then asked Samto if she could talk to Ozioma, but Samto told her not to do that because he knows his sister. He then hugged Temi and pecked her on the forehead. The next morning, Temi was coming downstairs when she saw Ozioma sitting in the living room, pressing her phone. As soon as Ozioma saw Temi, she started insulting her in her local dialect. Temi just looked at her and responded in her local dialect. Ozioma then stood up and picked a fight with Temi, accusing her of insulting her. Temi tried to explain that she wasn't insulting her. Ozioma called Samto, and when Samto came out, Ozioma told him that Temi had insulted her. Temi again tried to justify herself, saying she hadn't insulted Ozioma. Samto, on the other hand, was trying to make peace between Ozioma and Temi by telling Ozioma that Temi couldn't have insulted her, and he knew that for a fact. Ozioma, however, shouted at Samto to stop siding with Temi. Later that night, while Samto and Temi were sleeping, Temi woke up because Ozioma was praying out loud. She woke Samto up to go tell Ozioma to stop praying out loud since they had work to go to the next morning. Samto went out and saw Ozioma praying outside his room door. He told her to go pray in her room, but she refused. Then Temi came out to tell Ozioma that she needed to sleep and that her loud prayer was disturbing her. Ozioma didn't stop praying, so Temi and Samto got fed up and went back to their room. The next morning, Ozioma stood close to the stairs, lost in thought, reflecting on how David had promised to marry her, but didn't. She was feeling hurt all over again. Just then, Samto and Temi came downstairs. Suddenly, Ozioma asked Samto what Temi was still doing in his house. Samto tried to calm the situation, but Ozioma wasn't willing to calm down. Temi started begging Ozioma to let peace reign between them and to let go of the hurt from the past. Ozioma just ignored her and turned to face Samto, telling him not to trust Temi. What do you think Samto should do to resolve the tension between Ozioma and Temi? Share your thoughts in the comments. That same morning, Samto got to his office looking paranoid. He sat down to clear his head and had a flashback to when Temi was his personal nurse. He was asking her out, but she refused because it was against her hospital's policy to date a patient. Back to reality, one of Samto's colleagues, Andrew, came to ask if he had seen the email he sent. Samto didn't respond immediately, and when he did, he flared up. Andrew, on the other hand, was surprised by the way Samto was reacting. Then Samto sent Andrew out of his office. Later that same day, Temi went to visit her friend Bimpe at her house. Temi told Bimpe how Ozioma had been behaving towards her because of what David did to her. Temi also said she had tried to apologize to Ozioma for past mistakes, but Ozioma wouldn't listen. Then Temi had a flashback to when she visited Samto, and he told her that she reminded him of his sister because she took care of him so well while growing up. While Temi was still chatting with Bimpe, she received a call from Samto. Later that evening, Samto and Temi came home together. Samto quickly went to greet Ozioma, then Temi followed to greet her as well. But Ozioma's expression changed, and she warned Temi never to greet her or call her name again. Temi told Ozioma that she got her a gift, but Ozioma refused to accept it. Instead, she attempted to beat Temi, and Samto quickly stepped in. After Ozioma left the sitting room, Samto told Temi to calm down and said he would talk to Ozioma, but Temi already looked stressed and teary. A few minutes later, when Samto got to Ozioma's room, she started telling him what she went through at the hands of Temi and her family. She had a flashback to when she used to bring food for Temi and her brother, her then boyfriend. She would wash their clothes and even give Temi money for transport to work. But in the end, Temi's brother David got married to another woman. It hurt deeply because seeing Temi now feels like reopening old wounds. Samto apologized to Ozioma on Temi's behalf, but Ozioma refused to accept the apology. She told Samto that if he truly wanted her to be happy, he had to send Temi out of the house and out of his life. Ozioma said that a family that caused her so much pain should not be allowed into her own. Sometime later, Samto went into his room and sat beside Temi. He started the conversation by saying Temi knew David was cheating on Ozioma and that she helped cover it up. Temi defended herself, saying she didn't aid David, that she even spoke to him and asked him to stop fooling around and take Ozioma seriously. She also said she didn't know how to tell Ozioma about the cheating. Samto reacted angrily, saying Temi didn't stand up for Ozioma when she needed her most, and now it's affecting their relationship. He eventually calmed down and held on to Temi. Do you think Temi should be held responsible for her brother's past actions? Or is Ozioma letting her emotions cloud her judgment? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The next morning, Samto and Temi were having breakfast when Ozioma came to the dining table. She picked up Samto's food, looked at it in an irritated manner, and asked him what kind of food he was eating. She was clearly doing it to get on Temi's nerves. Samto had to calm her down, saying that Temi knows how to cook very well. Then Temi mumbled something under her breath. Ozioma wanted to attack her, but Samto quickly stopped her. Temi stopped eating, sat quietly, and looked like she was about to cry. Samto had to apologize to her. Later that same day at the office, Samto was talking to Andrew about how stressed he was because of what he was experiencing at home. Andrew sat quietly, not saying anything because he didn't want Samto to shout at him again. Samto noticed this and apologized to Andrew for shouting at him a few days earlier. They continued chatting before Andrew left the office. Meanwhile, that same day, Temi went to see Bimpe and told her she was getting fed up with Ozioma's attitude. She said she wanted to stop being nice to Ozioma. Bimpe then planted a sinister idea in Temi's mind, telling her not to listen to Samto or keep being kind to Ozioma. Instead, Bimpe advised her to give Ozioma the same energy she gives. After hearing this, Temi remained quiet. Later, when Temi got to Samto's apartment, she was about to go upstairs when Ozioma blocked her way and started talking to her. Temi calmly told Ozioma to respect herself. Then Temi forcefully removed Ozioma's hand and began giving her back the same energy. This led to both of them fighting. A few hours later, Temi was back at Bimpe's house after getting the beating of her life. Bimpe was shocked to see Temi in pain. Temi started blaming Bimpe for encouraging her to retaliate. Bimpe began begging and apologizing, then told Temi to call Samto and tell him what happened. Temi called Samto immediately and told him that Ozioma beat her up and that she was at Bimpe's place. She ended the call to nurse her injured face. Later that evening, Samto came in with Temi, who was seen holding her cheek in pain while seated. Samto, trying to be a mediator, told Temi that Ozioma isn't aggressive, but Temi wasn't happy because it seemed like he was taking his sister's side. A few minutes later, Samto went to see Ozioma in her room. Before he could speak, Ozioma stopped him, saying if what he wanted to say would make her angry, he shouldn't bother. But Samto still went ahead and asked why she beat his wife to be, saying he wasn't okay with it. Ozioma told him he didn't know the reason she beat Temi and that he should ask her. Then she said she beat Temi because she misbehaved, and even called her a child. Wow, calling a grown woman a child? Samto, already tired of everything, told Ozioma not to touch Temi again, then left her room. Do you think Temi made the right choice by standing up to Ozioma, or should she have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Some days later, Ozioma was busy on her phone in the sitting room while Temi was cooking in the kitchen. Immediately, Temi stepped out of the kitchen. Ozioma went in, checked what Temi was cooking, then removed the pot from the gas stove and put her own pot to prepare something else. After that, she returned to the sitting room. A few minutes later, Temi came back to the kitchen and saw that the food she was cooking was no longer on the stove. She went to ask Ozioma angrily why she removed her food. Ozioma stood up and told Temi that she should stop cooking for Samto, referring to Temi's food as poison. She added that she, Ozioma, would be the one cooking for Samto. Temi replied that it wouldn't happen and told Ozioma that she had already removed her pot from the stove. Ozioma was ready to fight, but Temi avoided her because of what had happened the last time. Later that evening, Temi came to serve Samto the food she had prepared for him, only for trouble to arrive too. Ozioma also brought food she had cooked for Samto and pushed aside Temi's food, which led to another argument. Samto, fed up, left the dining table for both of them. The next day at the office, Samto told Andrew that he was stressed because of what he was experiencing with his sister and Temi. Andrew gave Samto a possible solution, telling him to either send his sister back to her own house or decide not to marry Temi. Samto was quiet for a moment, then admitted that Andrew made sense, but said it wouldn't be easy to do either. Samto then begged Andrew to let him stay at his place so he could clear his head from all the problems at home. Andrew, looking confused, told Samto he didn't know the situation at home was that serious. Samto had to confess that it really was beyond him. Later that night, Temi was looking worried because Samto hadn't returned from work. She tried calling him, but his number wasn't going through. She then called Bimpe to explain what was going on. The next morning, Samto received a call from Temi. She told him how worried she was, as she hadn't seen or heard from him the previous night. She asked where he was, and Samto told her that he wouldn't come back home until she and Ozioma settled their differences. Then he hung up the call. If you were in Samto's shoes, what would you do? Choose peace or love? Let's talk in the comments. Later that same day, Temi rushed into Bimpe's house, acting like someone being chased by a masquerade. Bimpe asked her what the problem was. Temi told her what Samto had said over the phone, that she must settle her differences with Ozioma and that would be the condition for him to return home. Bimpe once again gave her advice. She told Temi that they needed to find a better way for Ozioma to settle with her. Temi responded that was exactly why she came to see Bimpe. Then Bimpe said they needed to find a boyfriend for Ozioma so she would stop disturbing Temi. Temi was shocked by the ridiculous advice and asked Bimpe if she had any sense. But Bimpe stood by her idea, insisting that the only way Ozioma would leave Temi and Samto's relationship alone was if she had a man of her own. That same day, Samto got to his office and was on a call with Ozioma. He told her that until she settled her differences with Temi, he wouldn't come back home. Then he ended the call. Samto had a flashback to when Ozioma hustled to send him to school and how she was mocked for not going to school herself. He also remembered when Temi accepted to be his girlfriend. Back in reality, Samto sat down and began going through some documents on his desk. Later that day, because Temi wanted Samto to come back home, she decided to make peace with Ozioma. But Ozioma, on the other hand, wasn't ready to let go of the hurt from the past. She even tried to beat Temi again. Later that night, Temi was alone in the bedroom, looking sad and teary. She had a flashback to the happy moments she shared with Samto, including when he proposed to her. She tried calling him because she felt lonely, but his number wasn't reachable. Temi then decided to go talk to Ozioma in her room. As soon as Ozioma saw her, she asked what she wanted. Temi knelt down with tears in her eyes, begging her for all the pain and hurt her brother had caused. But Ozioma told Temi that her begging wouldn't bring back the time she wasted with David, thinking he would marry her. Then she chased Temi out of her room. The next morning, Temi was coming down the stairs when Ozioma asked where she was going. Temi replied that she didn't have the strength to argue. Then she told Ozioma that Samto had been gone for days, and she was acting nonchalant about it. Ozioma told her that Samto was fine wherever he was. Temi looked at Ozioma and asked what wrong she had done to deserve this treatment. She told Ozioma that she would marry Samto whether she liked it or not. Temi went further, saying that if Ozioma had decided to wallow in pain, she shouldn't drag Samto and her into it. In response, Ozioma gave her a slap across the face and warned her never to speak to her rudely again. Do you think Temi is doing the right thing by trying to make peace, or should she stand her ground like Bimpe advised? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Temi, holding her face, asked Ozioma if this was the kind of life she wanted to keep living. She asked if Ozioma was happy with herself and what exactly she wanted her to do, reminding her that she wasn't David, the man who hurt her. Then Temi touched the deep core of Ozioma's heart by telling her that the same David who made her resentful was out there, happily married and enjoying life, while she was here hating her for something her brother didn't do. Temi told Ozioma that she loved Samto and there was nothing she could do about it. Then she walked away, leaving Ozioma emotional and teary. The next day, while in transit, Andrew told Samto that he had been incognito for over a week. Samto replied that he had been able to breathe and relax well since leaving his house. Andrew then asked if he wasn't concerned about not hearing from Temi. While they were talking, Temi called Andrew, but Samto told him to say he wasn't around. Andrew picked up the call and told Temi that Samto wasn't available, then ended the call. He told Samto he would send Temi the office address, but Samto told him not to. Later that same day, Samto entered his office acting paranoid again, and Andrew had to calm him down. Meanwhile, Temi was lying on the couch in the sitting room. She sat up immediately to answer a call from Andrew, who informed her that he had sent the office address. She thanked him and ended the call. A few minutes later, Temi arrived at Samto's office, and he was shocked to see her. Temi asked him what was wrong with him because she had been looking for him and had gone through a lot every day at the hands of Ozioma. Hearing that, Samto sat down and exhaled heavily. Temi sat beside him and said they needed to find a solution to deal with Ozioma. Then Andrew walked in and apologized to Temi for not sending the address when she called earlier. Later that same day, Andrew went to see Ozioma, and she was happy to see him. She even complimented him on how good he looked. They sat down to discuss Samto and Temi, but Ozioma was still adamant that their relationship wouldn't work. Andrew asked if coming to see her was in vain, and Ozioma told him it was. She wasn't ready to give in. So, Andrew left. Later, Temi rushed downstairs and started arguing with Ozioma. Ozioma stood up, ready to fight Temi again, not knowing Samto was right behind her. As she raised her hand to hit Temi, she mistakenly hit Samto, who fell down unconscious. Ozioma started acting confused. Andrew rushed in and asked what had happened, and Temi told him Samto was unconscious because of Ozioma. Later that night, Ozioma sat in the sitting room, crying and regretting her actions. Temi asked if she was happy that Samto was in the hospital, but Ozioma didn't respond. Then she received a call from Andrew. Temi quickly moved closer to listen. Andrew told Ozioma that Samto didn't make it. Ozioma was shocked, let out a loud scream, and started acting like someone who had lost her mind, while Temi still held the phone, processing the news. Ozioma, in her room, was crying while holding a framed photo of Samto. Then she ran out and banged on Temi's door. Temi came out and asked what was wrong. Ozioma said she couldn't sleep in her room because she was hearing scary sounds. The next morning, Ozioma was still crying and holding Samto's picture when Samto walked in. Temi was shocked to see him. Ozioma turned and saw him, screamed, and hid behind Temi. Samto then told Ozioma that the same Temi she hated was now the one she was running to for comfort. He said he was happy to see them together. Then, in a flashback, Temi and Samto explained to Ozioma how they planned everything with Andrew to bring unity to the family. Breathing heavily, Ozioma said she didn't like that kind of prank, and they all hugged and reconciled. Samto and Temi went to their room, feeling very happy because their plan worked. They praised Andrew, calling him a genius for coming up with such a plan. Some days later, Temi and Ozioma had become the best of friends and were having fun in the sitting room. Samto joined them and said he was happy to see the two of them getting along. It felt like a dream to him. Temi then sat beside Samto. Ozioma broke the news that she would be returning to her house and her business. Temi felt sad and didn't want her to leave, but Ozioma promised to come back when they were ready to get married. She then excused herself to give Temi and Samto some alone time. The moral lesson of this movie is, holding on to bitterness and past hurt only causes more pain. Forgiveness and open communication are key to healing, growth, and healthy relationships. Sometimes, letting go is the best way to move forward. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to our exciting channel. Stay tuned for more interesting, captivating, educational, and inspirational popular movie updates. Goodbye!